those little candy boxes behind you. Shall we? I should always bring Fabian. He's my little. I got him at Safeway about 14 years ago, and he still works. You squeeze him, and he says, "I am Fabian Fox. Would you like a cafe au lait?" He should always have a seat somewhere where he gets to comment. It was Phil's idea.
Oh.
Yeah, miss Phil, but he went on to good things. So
He's still working in the business, or?
of course, yeah. He did a lot of music videos, and I think.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So we came to convince you to do a show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look at this.
Well, I'll have to think about it.
You have to think about it.
Yeah, it's been a while. I sort of was shown the door. I was shown the door by the management here about 5 years ago.
Here at Bayback?
Yeah.
Oh, what
Are they still here?
Well, I don't know. Who's the manager now?
Andy.
Oh, Andy. Yeah, no, Andy wasn't behind it. It was the other woman.
Oh, Jen.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other woman? Is Andy a woman?
The other woman, yes. Her name's Jen. Yeah, Jen didn't.
It's
Didn't
a whole new institution now.
Yeah. Well, Jen didn't like my criticisms of management on the air. We had a picket line in front of the station one day
Really?
on
Yeah, I
Market
wasn't
Street
there.
when it used to be on Market Street before they were going to close it down. We had a big picket line,
Oh, really?
and I was out there on the bullhorn, and she didn't like it. And they basically took away my program. They took away a few.
That's kind of illegal.
It was illegal, and I made a complaint about it to the state, but the state didn't do anything. Yeah.
Well,
Are you the one of the managers, or?
no, I'm a commons associate.
Oh, okay. What's your name?
Yolan, what's your name?
Ilan. I'm Julian.
Julian.
Yeah.
And this is Andy.
Yeah. I think you've been here a while, haven't you?
No. I mean, I was.
Oh,
I came through their youth program, Bridges.
Okay.
Did that for 2 years and was mentored, and then they brought me back here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You weren't here a few years ago?
No.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm
You're
nervous,
paid.
sir.
Are you paid staff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's good. Yeah. Well, I had a pretty good show here. I had quite a following.
Yeah. You should do a comeback.
Yeah. I don't know if 20 minutes is long enough though. I used to do 2 shows.
Yeah.
A live one on the weeknight, and then I did a recorded one on Sunday nights. 1 hour long.
You could do an hour-long show.
Live?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll consider it. Yeah.
there's hardly been anybody here.
How late can I go on?
How late? We close at 7.
Okay. See, I used to do a 6 o'clock show
Mm.
when people are getting home.
Mhm.
So 6 o'clock would be the latest I could do a 1 hour show.
Mhm.
You have time slots?
As far as live shows, we can talk about it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, then.
Mhm.
Okay. Guest Julian Lagos.
Like
Do
the
you-
capital.
Ha! Somebody knows their geography. That's
A hard woman to be. A hard place to be a woman.
it's our place to live right now. Just like Iraq and Syria, and
Yeah, I was started reading about that this morning. The Guardian just texted me.
what's going on with Iraq? Well,
No, what's going on with Obama trying to send some strikes or something?
they're talking about it. Drone strikes, which they've been doing for a while anyway. But yeah, well, no air drone strikes, but
They
They're-
want to do drones to deliver things.
they're debating they're debating about sending back the troops in.
Okay.
It's a mess.
What do you want for your website?
Oh, I really don't have a website.
You have 5 minutes
You
I
can
already pushed record.
you can say I'm just a political activist. You know.
Okay, so we have
Yeah.
to change Paravita, the green part, Paravita.
Do you want nothing or?
No, you wanted a political activist?
Yeah, political activist.
Wait, hold on. Not .com, though. It's not a website, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah. So.
So how are the ratings for public access? You have you seen the ratings book?
I don't know. I actually haven't.
Okay, I have a note for question.
But yeah, people have followers. People have
They have audiences.
yeah. People have audiences.
Well, this studio is much better than what you had
Yeah,
before.
on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what you had before here.
Oh yeah.
True.
This is way better,
Oh yeah. We put some time and effort into it.
and a little money.
Yeah. Money, sure.
Yeah.
We still need to sort of perfect our lighting setup.
Yeah.
It's a little dim, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother
It
me.
gets dim on this side.
Yeah.
I have
Ideally, we
another
would want
question.
that one here,
Question.
here, maybe.
I have another question. How do I make this full screen?
Oh,
How do you do it here?
So you have enough producers working here?
producers,
Yeah.
Oh,
Programmers?
that's alright.
we want more.
There used to be
Well,
someone
there needs to be more outreach. See, that was part of the problem with BAVAC. They weren't doing outreach.
Yeah. That's
There was a lot of criticism about that.
yeah. We actually are hiring a commons
Outreach person?
Yeah. Another manager.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who's going to be replacing me because I'm leaving in July,
Oh, wow.
When in the beginning of July?
Where are you going to go?
going to New York.
He's all happy.
To work?
You
Uh,
wanna
He's
check the audio on
smiling.
the headphones?
Oh.
You're all
And then you'll be
happy.
good to go?
Smiling.
You'll
Not down there, huh?
check the audio on the headphones and then
Yeah.
let them go.
Yeah, I'm like.
And don't forget to hit record right before you start.
Yeah, it's on record.
We're already on record?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Do you want to put the mic over there, Jim?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
Do a little
So you have a pretty good audience now here on BAVAC? On public
Yeah,
access? Yeah.
It's
better, huh?
I don't know about the other ones. I don't have any comparison to be
Right.
honest. But I mean, as far as I know,
This
So
mic is
keep
really
this in
low.
plus.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Good.
do that.
no, it's okay.
No, because the
we'll
show.
touch the board though. Don't touch it. You don't need to.
Andrew.
And then also this one's on the floor, so when you guys step, it's gonna get you. It's gonna get everything. So just leave it up.
Okay.
If you want, put it over here.
Okay, I just want to let you know that the show with Randy,
Just make sure you're talking into it. All the settings are good.
yeah, but the show with Randy, I put it up to YouTube, but you can't hear it.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear anything. Has 2 views.
Yeah. So is it easier now to upload to YouTube
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
this?
Can you hear it now?
He sounds way better than she does. His voice is way fuller.
All right.
How about, should I try this one?
Yeah, this one's way better.
Yeah.
It's not. You see, that should be like clipping right there.
You're studying at NYU, right?
No, Eugene Lane, new school.
Oh, I love it. I love the new school.
Well,
That's
good
nice.
luck.
Thank you, thank you.
I was at
Have you
Parsons
visited
for the
New York?
summer.
Yeah, I used to live there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to school there for a
How
year
is
and
it
then.
now?
It's quite a city.
How is it now?
Yeah, you should use this mic.
Okay.
Switch, because you're gonna be talking to him.
Can I see what number it is?
Yeah, it's number.
You got a minute, Jennifer.
I don't know,
Less than a minute.
but here, they.
It's muted. Someone
Yes,
muted
Oh.
it. Please don't touch the board, okay? Someone muted the mic. It's not gonna work if it's muted.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't touch the board.
All right.
Julian is my witness. And,
I didn't touch it. No, I've been here.
Okay.
All right,
And-
well,
and
someone
we-
touched it, so don't.
So
It's
we can
okay
hear
now?
the.
It's okay
yeah,
now.
I didn't
Okay.
touch it.
Of course, it's not gonna get audio.
We're gonna hear the caller.
You're good.
And the video will run okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, so cameras.
15 seconds.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, les deux.
All right.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hello, bonjour, bonsoir, buenas noches. It is Planet Glee one more time, coming to San Francisco, stopping by just to say hi, but also merci, hello. Something fell on the floor, and it's now back on the table. Oops. Okay, well, I hope you can see our guest. I think I might have to turn that up a little bit, that font. But tonight's esteemed guest here on Planet Glee is someone who had a very, very popular and important show back on when we were Access SF. And we're trying
That's
to talk
right.
him into working
Again.
here again for public access television and for San Franciscans and for all our friends around the world, London, Paris, Mexico, Ukraine, whoever's watching.
The global audience.
Hello. And so, without a further ado, I'm not saying goodbye. There we go. Do. Take overlay. You did not. 1, 3. Take. There we go. But that's not how it looks right there. So I'm going to go to that one. Now I look like I don't know what I'm doing. What's going on? Well, we're in the 2-shot. Let's get away from the 2-shot. Should be number 3. Take, and it doesn't want to do it. Why doesn't it want to do it? Camera 3. There we go. Yay!
There we go.
Hi, Julian.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on again. It's been a while. It's been, I believe, just before the 2012 November election that you had me on as a guest, while I was running for supervisor
Yes.
in District 7. And, it's always a good thing to be back in front of the camera, in front of the microphones here for your audience to talk about what's going on with the world, what's going on with the planet, and what's going on the local scene here politically. And so I thank you for having me on again, and I look forward to talking about whatever you think's important to talk about in terms of what's happening with the world and the planet. And it's just there's a lot that has gone down since November 2012. Things are really, in my opinion, they're spiraling out of control in terms of politics, environment, and you mentioned animal rights as a topic, and one of the things I see going on that's actually one of the brighter things is that there more people are aware of what's happening with the animals. Talking about anything and everything, and the environment and gentrification, because gentrification is now a very hot issue here in San Francisco. And
I saw this program about Brazil, and how many people do not want to have the World Cup and all these stadiums that they want to build.
right.
Well, it turns out that the favelas are now prime property because of their view of the city and the ocean, and that now people are getting kicked out of the favelas and
to make way for these World Cup soccer matches. And don't forget, they're going to be hosting the Olympics in 2 years.
Yes, and so this is going to be like very expensive housing. It's just like what's happened here.
Well, what's happening is that one of the largest countries in our hemisphere is selling out to corporate interests. That's what's happening. I mean, they had a socialist, so-called socialist administration in there, and they've seen the silver lining of capitalism. You know, to help. Poor and even the wildlife in Brazil, the rainforest. Brazil is Brazil. That's okay. 2 shots fine.
2 shots fine if it looked good.
Yeah.
You want to slide over? A little?
Sure.
I don't know what happened there.
I'll slide over. It makes it easier, but
well, yeah, we can see you better.
yeah, and it's just this. This issue with globalization is something that people need to take a harder look at. It's affecting everybody. It's affecting the environment, the economics. So, yeah, Brazil is an interesting case in point that you make regarding what's going on, socially and politically and economically. It's actually a sad case.
Yes, it is. And it makes me feel like it's sort of like a mass capitalistic, it's probably the last cry of capitalism is taking the private property that these people owned in their own way.
Sure.
And making money out of it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, well, capitalism is changing. It's it's looking for new markets. It's looking for limited resources and commodifying it, and that's what the beast does. And Brazil is a good case in point. There's a lot of resources in Brazil, and it's just in my opinion, it's open season in Brazil for the capitalists, the developers. Just as it is here in the United States, it's open season, and fortunately for Brazil, there is a resistance. There is not much of a resistance here in the United States to the rape of the open spaces, the open lands, the wildlife, the marine life. You don't see much of a resistance here. I mean, there's some, but not on the scale that you see abroad. In parts of Latin America, Ecuador, you'll see resistance to what's going on.
Right.
There's a heavy people's resistance towards capitalism, and of course Nicaragua and El Salvador and Cuba. But in this hemisphere, and there are other parts of the world, of course Western Europe, Eastern Europe, but yeah, there's not enough resistance to what capitalism is doing in its latest phase, and hopefully that'll change.
Yeah, it's dying a slow death, but it's going to happen.
It's dying a slow death. It's prolonging itself.
Yeah.
It's on. Some people would say it's on life support, but it's getting ugly in terms of how repressive it can be. Especially here in the United States, it's becoming very repressive. You have laws being enacted to punish people who advocate on behalf of animals and on behalf of the environment. Animal rights activists and environmental rights activists are now at the top of the list, the government's list for prosecution for terrorism. It's not Al Qaeda, or it's not, even the Tea Party. The government's going after the Tea Party. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to demonize the Tea Party, and I think it's mainly done for political reasons. But Yeah, animal rights activists and environmental activists are now, as Will Potter says in his new book, Green is the New Red, they are the new targets. And, major corporations consider them, the enemy, because they're really addressing concerns that affect all of us.
It's so incredibly bizarre. And then I forget who said this. I think it was Obama said this the other day. This is the only country where you see people getting gunned down for going to school.
They get gunned down going to school in the Middle East.
Right.
In Palestine, occupied Palestine.
Absolutely.
Syria, Iraq, they get gunned down going to school every day, if you want to be honest about it. And you don't hear about it in the corporate media here, but it happens. They get gunned down at their workplace.
Yeah.
They get bombed out of their workplace or bombed out of their school or their hospitals. And you don't hear a word about it unless you listen or read the alternative media.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that some people grow up only caring about their family and their religious affiliation, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, unfortunately, the United States is not an international country. Obama doesn't even want to deal with Russia. I mean...
Well, he is dealing with Russia, but in his own way.
Yeah, the usual.
Right.
Sanctions.
Confrontational. And if he could get away with it, he would push harder for a military option,
Yeah. Exactly. And the whole drone thing about drones delivering packages to people.
Yeah. Well,
I don't want to run into one of those things.
Those are the techno-fascists that now pretty much govern at least the state of California, if not the economy of the United States. They're the ones that are advocating, I'm sure you're familiar with this initiative that's going to be on the November ballot here in California. There's one CEO from Silicon Valley who wants to split up California into 6 states.
6?
Yeah, that has qualified for the November 2014 ballot.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, it's going to be there. It's going to be controversial.
It's pretty confusing.
It's very
with 6? Whoops.
6 states. Yeah, I can see California perhaps becoming its own country because it's large enough and it's resourceful enough to become its own country.
But we have to get rid of the people that we've got in power in California.
Right. There have to be a number of changes that would have to take place before that happened. But yeah.
By the way, I want to let everybody know, that I'm having trouble with the board tonight. This is a call-in show, by the way. 861-6648, area code 415. If you feel like calling up and getting in on this discussion, if you disagree with me or you disagree with Julian, or you call us up. It's best to talk about it than not.
Of course, get it off your chest.
Sure.
If you share our opinions or you don't, and you have an opposite opinion, sometimes it's even better to have somebody on who has an opposite opinion. It makes for better ratings, as they say in the business.
Yeah.
To have somebody on who's opposite of where you stand. So yeah, call in. As you know, I used to have a program on here many years ago, and we
want you to come
back. You want me to come back, and
yes,
you have a nice studio here. I have to admit, it's very nice and state of the art, and I will have to think about it, and conditions have to be right.
Oh,
there you go.
Guess what? It's a funny call. Hello, welcome to Planet Glee.
Is there any particular discussion going on?
Is this Richard?
No.
Oh.
This is the unsung comedian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you.
Steve?
What do you
Steve,
think of them breaking into and getting all the files on the shrimpy guy over in Chinatown?
Yeah, well, he was.
And was that just kind of like the same thing that happened out at the Cow Palace with all the records having to do with the gas?
Yeah, well, I think
pipeline blow up and all that.
you're talking about what happened in San Bruno.
Yeah, I mean they more or less tampered with the files so that they couldn't use it as evidence. Same with the shrimp boy.
Sure. Well, they're going to protect PG&E.
And they're going to protect all the Democrats.
All the Democrats except the ones they're going to throw under the bus, like Leland Yee and Keith Jackson.
I don't know. I was there, for Ross Macarini when they were lying, under oath, and all of a sudden there was a bomb scare and they ran everybody but us out the room.
Well, that's typical San Francisco politics, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was
people
really
up.
blessed to have you in this program and Ross Macarini and just everything, just the politics that we are in and around. It's because kind of makes us activists, and I appreciate this show, and I appreciate Bayback and just having this, being around.
It's amazing you've hung in all these years, Steve.
The day's Friday the 13th.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, how can you beat this, huh?
And they say that the full moon that we're going to witness tonight will never happen again on another Friday the 13th until 2049.
I thought I saw the moonlight last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm not making it to 2049.
Well, you never know, Jennifer. We may be here 35 years from now.
Oh, frozen, you mean?
Yeah, during this show.
I called in one night, on my birthday, and I was talking to her, and the next thing you know, there was an earthquake on 9/11.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
That was kind of kind of simulcast.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
Yeah, it's good to hear your voice again, and
you saw that I predicted the tsunami and everything.
Right.
On Richard Wright. That was wild.
Right, and I know you predicted Fukushima, right?
Yeah, I mean, said it was going to happen before it happened, and to this day, they don't know what to do.
I know they don't.
Water, and it's just leaking right, everywhere.
They're packing it down with cat litter, and they just isn't that something? The only way that they
who knows what next?
Well, they're worried that the critics are worried that cat litter is going to just set off a major explosion.
Well, I'm afraid of the earthquake that's happening like down south, because there's two nuclear power plants and all the storage of all the uranium down there, and that's where the big one's going to be. 7.5 or bigger, more like 8, 9.
Right.
And underneath those two nuclear power plants, they'll just be a same thing as like we have in Fukushima.
You're talking about Diablo?
Hydrogen explosions and melting down through the core from all the storage they have there.
Right.
When you make nuclear power plants right there on the coast, and you talk about global warming and rising water. Why are they building it more and stuff like that when they're talking about a 30-foot rise in water? How are they going to clean up the mess before the 30-foot rise in water?
Well, they won't be able to.
They won't be able to, right?
Right. They'll have to evacuate half the state of California.
Once it melts down, there'll be no California, no United States. It'll be constantly, like a wind just going over the whole continent. It's not like Japan. It's going toward us.
Right.
If it goes over the continent, it'll just be radiation constant.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I hope not, but we're really getting close to it now.
Yeah.
Because it's been happening so constant that's a thrust fault. It's not. It's going to move sideways 30, 40 feet all of a sudden.
Right.
And it's no nuclear power plant can handle that.
Right.
I'm sorry, to talk about it, but it's better to talk about it than not.
Of course.
Well,
Yeah,
Steve, thank you for calling in.
With global warming and the rising water means that there's more tsunamis, more earthquakes, and they're talking about desalinating the water and using the the rim of fire to do it. Like down in Mexico, all their energy is coming from the geothermal. They've got excess amounts of energy. We can desalinate water and use geothermal energy to do it.
Right. Right.
And it just be like we'll be in a water park and an abundance of water and energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too easy sometimes. I mean, it's like they'll throw a blind eye to it and won't say anything.
Right.
But we might get there soon.
Right.
It goes like this.
Yeah.
So dry, so dry.
Well, Steve, thank you for calling
I'll
in.
let you
Let's
know.
let's
I
have
appreciate
let's
talking.
have Julian. Let's talk Julian into having his own show here again.
Yeah, I hope I hope he gets his own show, and I appreciate calling in.
All right,
and just,
Steve.
Ranting on.
Good to hear you. It's just that Julian wanted to talk about one more thing, and we have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, well, we got, 2 more minutes?
2 more minutes.
What do you want to cover?
We can cover
You
what you wanted to do. A camera 4. Camera 4. There it is.
Well, we may not have enough time to run this video clip because it's 2.5 minutes long, but this is a video that is posted on YouTube.
I'll turn it on.
It covers the deforestation of a community in San Francisco that's being gentrified on the west side, Park Merced, and they're deforesting the hillside along Brotherhood Way, where a number of species of wildlife live, and it's just part and parcel of what's going on with San Francisco and the destruction of open spaces. I don't know if the audio is running on this. Is it running?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
No, I don't hear it. But anyway, they cut down over 200 trees along Brotherhood Way, and I made an issue of it with the city in the past half year or so, 6 months to a year, and as you can see, the destruction that's going on there, they cut down over 200 Monterey pines. But this is part and parcel of what goes on here in San Francisco, where, we have greenwashers basically operating at City Hall, and, that has to end. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of your audience. Yeah.
And you took this video, which is really good. I like
Yeah.
this video.
Yes. Well, somebody else did. I narrated it. But-
Okay.
But thank you for having me on.
But look. Yeah. Oh, we're done. Oh no.
We're done.
Already.
Thank you,
But-
sweetheart.
Thanks for coming on. It's been a while.
Yeah.
At least we can talk a little bit. Usually they give me about 8 to 10 minutes sometimes to talk after the show. I put it on YouTube. So,
Oh, okay.
So
You
yeah.
want to keep rambling on?
Well,
is
there's
there
a lot more to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
yeah.
mean, I have a friend who is does election, international election observation, and was in Kiev.
Wow.
And it seemed like everything was fine.
Until the death squads took over.
But he's not in the north. What is it? The northeast
Part of the country, like Donetsk.
something like that, where they
Yeah.
have where people.
I was just reading online last night that the Ukrainian government, was caught dropping white phosphorus over one of its cities. And white phosphorus is banned by the UN. It's an incendiary weapon. It's akin to napalm, and they were caught in the past 7 days dropping white phosphorus on one of the major northern Ukrainian cities, where they believe there's a stronghold of pro-Russian sentiment. So that's what's going on,
Yeah, I think it's all of that. It's like putting California into 6 states. I mean,
Well,
Russia versus the Ukrainian people, Russian people versus Ukrainian people is.
well, what a lot of Westerners
I
don't.
don't know anything about it really.
Well, what it is that the United States has always had this strategy of trying to encircle Russia and China militarily and economically for the purpose of taking over their resources, and that's what's going on. They
Well, China's not going to let them do anything.
no, and neither are the Russians. But they see this move in Ukraine to get the Ukrainians into the EU as a move to encircle Russia for its oil resources. Yeah. Russia's the second largest producer of oil in the world. A lot of people don't know that. They're second to Saudi Arabia.
I didn't know that. And
Yeah.
there seem to be a lot of places that have, in South America too, that have oil.
Venezuela's number 4. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they want Hugo Chavez out. He's a major obstacle to
Well, and he's also a socialist.
a socialist too, and they don't like the guy in there who's followed him, Maduro. So, no, we're experiencing endless imperial war, and I don't understand why Americans are putting up with it.
Well, they're not even voting.
Well, they're not voting because they're probably fed up.
That's not the way to express it, though.
Well,
Because then the people who will vote nevertheless are Republicans usually.
sure, they're
Because
conservatives. Yeah,
They have the most money and the most property, and
the most to lose.
they have the most to lose, supposedly.
Sure.
And then where did the Green Party go? But Luis Rodriguez ran for governor, and he got something like 400,000 votes in San Francisco.
Well, I don't know if he got 400,000. He might have gotten about 4,000. There were only, I think, less than 100,000 who voted in
In the whole state?
No, in San Francisco.
Oh no, I think he got 400,000 in
The state?
The state, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. If that's the case,
Yes.
that's the case. But, he still came in behind the Republican candidates. And the whole system has to change. I think it should at least be modeled after what they have in Europe, which is a parliamentary system and, based on party affiliation and party vote. That's the only way progressive parties are going to get into power here.
Yes.
A parliamentary system of government. This system we have here, especially in California, it excludes everybody except the Democrats. The Democrats really now have a hold on power here in California because of the new system. It's the 2 top vote getters in each race that move on to November now. And it's now usually 2 Democrats that face off, like we have here in San Francisco. David Chu and David Campos are going to face off against each other in November. It's not going to be a Republican or a Green or Peace and Freedom. It's 2 Democrats. I mean, it's just it's a bankrupt system that has to change, and the people, I think the people are so fed up with it they don't want to change it. They're fed up. They know it's corrupt. At least intuitively, they know it's corrupt.
I don't think they don't want to change it. I think that
They don't know how to.
yeah, I think that
Well, it could turn into a bloody mess, as you know, as happened in other parts of the world, which maybe I think a lot of people are fearful of.
well, I would certainly hope not. I mean, but at the same time, no one wants to see people getting killed. That's anywhere.
Yeah.
I know the soldiers don't want to see that either. They come back here. What's for them? They
Nothing.
nobody likes them. They're
they're disenfranchised and alienated even more so than they were before when they left.
Yeah, there's so many programs.
And I
that,
think that's why the Pentagon now has seen the light. They got rid of the draft 40 years ago, and now they're moving to an armed force that is robotic, and that is the future of the armed forces in the U.S. They're going to be robotic in the air, on the ground, at sea. All these forces of aggression are going to be controlled from some distant by the techies, by the Google operators, by the operators down at NASA, in Mountain View.
the scientists.
Yeah, all those weapons are going to be controlled robotically. And the Pentagon doesn't have to worry about any civil resistance to war anymore because the robots are going to control everything. They're going to do all the killing. And the human population probably is going to become even more disconnected to war. Disinterested.
I think a lot of people think that Iraq and Afghanistan, that the two obvious wars ought to be over.
Yeah, but I don't think enough people do care enough to see those wars end. I mean, you got to get out there and protest.
And you have to go out there and learn and relate
Right.
to other people
And that-
outside.
And that's another issue I see as a problem facing Americans is that a lot of Americans are very xenophobic.
Yeah.
They fear other social groups, racial groups, other belief systems. They fear them. And so how can they protest and resist their own repression when they have issues working side by side with people who may actually agree with their perspective on war? They may have a lot of trouble marching side by side with people of color who oppose war.
Still.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah.
It's depressing.
It's depressing. It's depressing. You got all these wars going on, and, it seems like it's the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It really does. Guys, you and I are old enough to remember what the 60s were like.
Well,
and none of
I'm a
this.
little kid.
Okay, well, we were both little kids, but we remember the protests, the anti-war protests against Vietnam, and against against civil repression, during the civil rights movement.
My dad didn't side with the United States, so we didn't watch much about anything that had to do with the U.S.
Mm-hmm. But it was in front of it was on your TV screen every night.
No, he didn't. He
didn't have a TV?
We had a TV, but we watched the Troubles in Belfast, and then we watched, because the Vietnam War was televised.
Oh, yeah.
So we watched that, and we watched Belfast, and that's it.
Uh-huh.
So as a little kid, I didn't know what was going on in colleges and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I have older cousins.
Yeah.
But, they weren't hippies.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I don't know much about it except for within my own little cultural group.
Right.
To be honest.
Well, that whole period of time was the last time Americans actually were angry enough to resist, and the Pentagon and the powers that be in Washington learned a lesson from the whole Vietnam War experience.
I saw a very good film from 2000 on Jimi Hendrix.
Uh-huh.
And the actor looked a lot like Jimi Hendrix.
Uh-huh.
And it was more or less a British production.
Uh-huh.
And just seeing how Hendrix really wanted to say more than he could say
Mhm.
about the war.
Mhm. Well, he said a lot about it in his song "All Along the Watchtower." I mean, that's a classic. Protests against what was going down in Vietnam.
Oh yeah, and 1983, a mermaid I should be.
Yeah.
I shall be. He says, "Oh my God, it's really such a mess."
Yeah.
Um.
I mean, he was truly a prophet of his times.
Yeah.
You know, as Dylan was. Dylan sort of sold
He's
out.
around though. Isn't he still alive?
Oh, Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still
Okay.
he's still up there
Hi,
doing.
Bob.
He's still doing his shows on stage, but he's not the protester he once was. He's not the protesting troubadour.
Oh, speaking of Troubadour, a year ago this summer, I met a young guy from London who is called the Freewheelin' Troubadour,
Uh-huh.
and he went to the southern United States in 2009 and explored with Native Americans, something which would be very rare
Right.
for someone from London to do. And so far he's not writing any music, but I hope that he does. But I know of some groups, like another group in Paris, that's trying to get a group together to look at social cultures and how we view each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think that things are better among the younger people. And even here at BAVAC provides a lot of education
Mm-hmm.
to kids in high school
Uh-huh.
to learn how to make their own songs, their own videos.
Right. I think that's part of the program here now at BAVAC, and their partnership with the city is to provide education in video production.
I think they do that pretty well.
Yeah, well, it's something I think they should provide for everybody, not just high school kids or college kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. But
Yeah.
well, I don't even know what's going to happen next. I'm just really glad that Planet Glee still get to talk about what we're talking
The issues of the day.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
than
And you're
PCI.
gonna get all of this extended program on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Sometimes the shows are 40 minutes long, and people go,
wow.
Well, that's why I'd like to see people put their comments on the longer shows where we're really getting a chance to talk about.
Well, we really hang down, as they say. Just let it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. The technology has its place if it's done democratically. It has its place. I believe right now it's being used repressively against people and the environment, and that has to change. The people who control it have to change. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it would be good to try to mobilize or unite some techies, who
Well,
aren't
techies-
so like
The techies that
pro corp,
yeah, the techies that are pro democracy and pro people and who are progressive, there might be in my opinion, there's probably a minority of them. I think many of the techies are driven by money, and control, and social climbing. So
I know some people who are working for some of the techie corps, and their politics is somewhat close to mine, somewhat,
Mm-hmm.
but
well, the neighborhoods that they now inhabit or occupy have gentrified considerably. You know, like the Mission and parts, I guess, parts of the Lower Haight. You know, they're now the main residents there, and you know, people are concerned about that.
Yes.
The longtime residents who are worried that they're going to be pushed out, and it's I've been a resident here in San Francisco for almost 40 years, and you know, I'm very concerned about what's going on to what's left of the working class, and so it's. I know not all techies are the enemy, but
No.
and I understand the class relations and the class history of all this, but I think a number of them have to start seeing the trees from the forest, as they say, and start choosing sides.
I agree.
They need to start choosing sides, because I know for a fact it could get uglier. We had a major demonstration out where I live in Park Merced a week ago that was led by one of the local anti-eviction groups. The Anti-Displacement Coalition came out to Park Merced and the main offices and conducted a occupation of the main offices last Friday, June 9th. And you can see it on YouTube, I believe. It was posted on Indie Bay. I don't know if it's still I don't know if it's still there, but
Indie Bay?
Indie Bay ran it last Monday, June. I guess it was last Monday, whatever last Monday was, June 9th. They posted it on Indie Bay. You might find it under housing if you go to indiebay.org. But they ran a. They must have some very tech savvy supporters in that group, because they brought their own cameras and their own equipment, and they taped it and they edited it and they posted it online on Indie Bay last Monday. So you might want to check that out. I think it's about a 5-minute long video, and you know, they address the issues of displacement not only in Park Merced but also in the Mission. The company that owns Park Merced and wants to develop in Park Merced also wants to develop at 16th and Mission. Yeah, you might want to go to the housing.
Health housing.
And look up the anti-eviction or anti-displacement group. They ran a video there. I think they posted it last Monday, June 9th. Should be there.
Yeah, I'm seeing anti-gentrification attacks hit both sides of Bay in one day.
Right. And is it
updated 5/9/14?
Oh no, this was last Monday.
Yeah, so I should probably put the date in.
Yeah, but they came out there and they occupied the offices of Park Merced, because the company that owns Park Merced, Maximus LLC, also owns the property at 16th and Mission, where they want to develop 351 luxury condominium units.
Oh, what does luxury mean?
Well, we're talking about people who have seven-figure incomes.
Yeah, but the kind of living that they're selecting is so.
Well, they want to develop the Mission into another Pacific Heights. You know, with all the amenities of a great climate. You know, Mission District has probably the best climate in the city.
Well, so does Hunters Point, and there is a new.
You might want to look in the right margin there.
There's a new. They're going to be. Okay, that's the first time you did that, Jennifer. Let's see. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. There is a film showing. When is it? It's on Facebook. I'll forward it to you. a half an hour film that
Uh-huh.
was made through Bayback about what's happening in Hunters Point.
Oh, right. And there's a premiere of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Next week, I believe, or the week after.
Yeah, something like that. And I definitely want to go to that.
Yeah, I got it. I received an invitation for that, but
Hey, you ready?
Yeah, thank
she's
you.
she's
I don't want to rush you out.
she's extending her program here.
Yeah, we're just on Indie Bay trying to